Welcome to the Bride Link podcast, your home for expert wedding planning advice. Today we're talking all about photography and how to make sure that you and your photographer are prepared for the wedding day. I've got somebody with me that knows a little, well, maybe a whole lot about photography and videography. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good. Well,
Thanks
tell
for having
me
me
just a little bit about yourself and your business.
Sure. My name is Ben Moser. Our company is Knox Wedding Creative. We've been doing weddings in Tennessee for about a decade now. We started off doing some smaller weddings in photo and video, and then we've worked our way into a lot more of the larger weddings. We can do multiple services at the same event. We've done a lot of corporate work as well for large events. Knoxville Chambers, largest events of the year, we've done those. So we've gotten a lot of experience in helping to put on a really excellent event from the photo and video production perspective.
Mm-hmm. And then I've had the ability to work with you, and I just know overall something that you always are is very prepared. And so I thought that was a perfect topic for us to talk about, because if a photographer's not prepared, it really can ruin not only the day, but your photos at the end. So I wanted to talk a little bit first about the effects of what happens if a photographer might not be prepared on a wedding day.
So there's so many different factors that go on during a special event that you can control, right? And so being prepared for those and understanding what you're planning to do, what the preferences are for your customer, if they like a certain style of photography, if they want to be at a certain spot at a certain time of the day that's meaningful for them, planning around all of the things you can control. And that can go really deep. We can go into a lot of the details. We're very detail oriented, but a really great example of that is your post-ceremony shot list for your family and your bridal party, right? So not having a list at that point in time can make that next hour the worst time of your wedding day. And you sound like you've experienced this, but making it just not fun. But if you have a list and you know how to work through that list very efficiently, your pictures can be done very quickly. Everybody's very happy, and you've moved on to the next phase of your day where you're really celebrating. I
feel like clients really can pick up if you're organized at that point more than any, because if you know who's next, you're popping one person in, they're out, next person in, and it runs really smoothly. If you're not, then we're standing there trying to figure out who's Uncle Bob, where's Uncle Bob at, somebody go get him from the reception, and then we're standing there for 5 or 10 minutes of the hour that is supposed to be shot, and it's just one family photo. And so it definitely adds a lot of stress to the day when somebody's not prepared like that. I know that you have an entire prep list or session that you do beforehand. So tell me a little bit about that.
So a few weeks before your wedding, what we'll work with brides on is putting together a lot of the information that we call discovery, trying to figure out all the details that we need. That goes into our production schedule and our call sheet. We distribute those to everybody who's working the event. So if we have just one person, then I'll be prepared when I show up, right? But if we have multiple people, whether it's 2 photographers or a photography team and a video team at the same event, everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows what responsibilities and roles they need to accomplish during that day. And we collect all that information from our couples before the wedding day and put together a plan. So we know exactly what we need to do.
Mm-hmm. I think that helps so much. I know one of the most important things as a wedding planner for us is the schedule. How do you all make sure that you can stay on schedule?
It's just like any big project. If you break it down into parts and you break your parts down into tasks and you give tasks a time, then it's really easy to put together a successful schedule. That's usually not the case, at least from my experience. Not just wedding related, right? Mm-hmm. They don't break it down as far. So what we really try and do is, in that detail-oriented nature, we try and plan for success. Now, everything doesn't go as planned on a wedding day, and knowing what to do and how to do it really quickly in those instances is really valuable, and that's where experienced professionals really come in handy, and they really provide great service is when things don't go as planned, when they inevitably will. When you can plan and prepare for most of the day and do it really well and break it down into chunks that make sense, it's really easy to keep the day going and moving and flowing well and being able to produce really great work. And then even beyond that level, having the ability to provide quality when things don't go well is again, it's a really great point. Being able to work around schedule problems. It may not be something that we do to throw your schedule off. It may be that hair and makeup just took longer, which most of the time hair and makeup takes a while, right? And that threw off the ceremony start time, and then that threw off the post-ceremony picture time, which then threw off your post-ceremony couple portraits. Well, if you have a winter wedding, you're now in the dark. You know, if your wedding's supposed to start at 4 and end at 4:30, and now it's ending at 5 or 5:30, and your wedding's in December, then you have to work off a different type of shoot because there's no natural light anymore.
That happened at one of our weddings, and the photographer was completely unprepared, and it definitely showed. So I feel like the best combo you can get is somebody that comes prepared, ready for everything to go right, but has enough experience if everything goes wrong that they can still save the day. And then coming with experience too, there's a few things that I know a photographer can realize. One is photo fatigue, when clients are just completely tired.
Your wedding day is going to be very exhausting, regardless of what your schedule is, regardless of how many people you have or where you're going to be. And knowing how to work well with the customer, your client, our brides particularly, get the most fatigue during the day with all the demands that happen during a wedding day, and then all the anxieties and worries that go along with that. It's really overwhelming. Or it can be, I guess. It can be overwhelming. And knowing when is the best time to change the plan. An example of that is in our recent wedding we did, our couple was really tired after the ceremony ended, and we had a half an hour block scheduled to do some couple portraits for them right after the ceremony, but they just needed a break. And so we decided a change of plan so that we got some great couple portraits for them that wouldn't look any different because, again, it was a December wedding and their ceremony went through 5:30, so they're going to be outside and it's going to be dark, so we're going to have some dramatic portraits anyway. They're not going to look any different at 5:30 than they are at 9:30 at the end of the night. So now they got a break. They can get a little recharge before the reception, and they're still going to get the amazing pictures they were going to get in the first place. It's just going to shuffle the schedule around a little bit.
That's awesome that you did that for them, because one, you gave them a moment that they can't get back. Like we always tell people, usually for our clients, we'll put them in the bridal suite or another room alone for 5 minutes right after they get married. And I tell them, that's the only 5 minutes you get to be alone at all on your wedding day until the whole thing's over. So you gave them those few minutes that they probably really needed.
We can make a lot of things look good, but if you aren't feeling good, it's difficult for you to feel good about what happens out of that work.
Yeah, a fake smile still looks fake. Even if it's on your wedding day, you're super happy, but my goodness, you've been on site for hours and hours and you're just exhausted at that point. As far as being prepared, I know that you all take some special care with timing, also lighting. Tell me how a photographer can be really prepared when it comes to lighting.
Lighting conditions can really change dramatically day to day, and if you're planning a wedding in the spring but your wedding is in the fall, the lighting conditions at that particular time at that particular venue may be different, or summer to winter and so forth. So what we do is we really work well to try and plan ahead for the lighting conditions of a particular day. But when lighting conditions change, if it's sunny most of the day but now it's overcast or vice versa, or it's raining during a portion of your day, or if the lighting happens to go out, we can actually compensate for that with the use of artificial light, and still achieve the same goal of style that you really want. But we know how to use artificial lighting, we know how to use natural lighting in combination to supplement each other based on what you prefer. And that just comes with the experience of using, off-camera lighting and different types of lighting, video lighting, constant lighting, still flash lighting, strobe lighting, figuring out what works best for the scenario and the shot style that you want.
Right.
So.
We had a wedding once where the photographer was like, the light is too bright. I can't take any pictures right now. We just have to wait until the light's not bright anymore. And I was like, wait, how long?
That's a struggle. I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on natural light photography right now. We don't call ourselves natural light photographers for a reason that we are able to manipulate the light that's available into the style that you want.
Right.
And that just, again, that comes with knowing your lighting equipment and having experience using it. A lot of the lighting that happens at a wedding, we get notice maybe 30 or 60 seconds ahead of time from the wedding planner or the DJ having our equipment ready to go, knowing what exactly we need to tune it to in 60 seconds or less, and getting you amazing work at the same time. You can only do that if you've done that a bunch. You know how to do it immediately.
Right, because we try to prompt our people and let them know, like, hey, the intro's happening. If you have the great equipment, you also have to know how to use the great equipment and use it quickly, and the fact that you needed the equipment. It shouldn't be in your car in the parking lot. And sometimes we've held back an intro for 5 or 10 minutes, or a ceremony for 5 or 10 minutes because somebody couldn't figure out how to work the camera exactly how they wanted to, or they were fiddling with the audio, and it was just that they weren't used to their equipment yet. So I know the goal for every wedding professional is to make a wedding day run smoothly. And sometimes when you're working with a videographer and photographer, there's a lot that they have to do to be able to work together. How do you make sure that that runs smoothly?
Well, the best way to do that is to have a team that's either worked together before or have an all in-house team, right? So, we've worked with a lot of different photographers and videographers. We do both services, so we've done it on both sides. We've been the videographer when there's a photographer, and vice versa. We also offer both services. The best way that we like to do it is to work together. We have pre-production meetings for all of our staff at an event so that everybody's on the same page. So if you have a video team and a photo team at a wedding, and they're all from Knox Wedding Creative, for example, then they're going to know exactly what each person's doing at any given moment and not get in the way of great work, right? Every vendor at your wedding is working off the same schedule, and if one vendor decides to take extra time without communicating that to other vendors, the rest of your wedding is thrown off, right? We have flexibility. We can make up time in different areas. Caterers don't have the same flexibility all the time. When the food's out, the food's out. And when the food needs to be put up, the food needs to be put up.
Yeah. What I like about when you all work together, a lot of times when we have a videographer and photographer come on site, they meet up, they talk a little bit, talk about their styles and how they do things, just to make sure that they're going to work well together. When you all come and it's everybody that came from the same company, you already had that conversation. So you walk on ready to shoot, ready to get started. And I feel like that's just really valuable for what the couple's paying for.
The bigger problem is the time logistics. And so our team's able to collaborate and put together a seamless plan for that.
Yeah, so you're not figuring out things on the fly. So you could do photography, videography, or both. Is that right?
Yeah.
If somebody was interested in working with your company, how can they find you?
We have a awesome website, knoxweddingcreative.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. The next step is really to just ask us about your date. If you want to know more and we're available, then we have some great opportunities and resources that we can provide to you as far as working to help plan a successful wedding for you.
Awesome. And I think you said if they do both services at the same event, is there like a partner discount?
Yes, there is. What we've done for 2020 is very different than what we've done in the past. We've taken a lot of the more popular services for both photo and video, and we've tried to fit them into a fun 2020 package. The price of the package is $2,020. The value of what we've done before for the same services is about $5,000. On the video side, it's about $4,500. So you're saving 50 to 60% of what we've actually charged for the past 5 years. We've structured the deals in a way that's really helpful for our couples. It's very simple. And then we also have flexible options for whether you're getting married in 2021, some flexible payment options too.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate all this great advice that you gave me today. For more wedding planning advice, you can follow us at The Bridal Link.